Hello fellow simmers, and welcome to this review from Flight Sim Productions. Today we're taking a look at Flight Control Replay Professional Edition FSX P3D by Fabio Merlo. This is available over at simmarket.com for €15 and $17.45 US, roughly thereabouts. This program is very similar to the now defunct FS recorder that we all loved, and just one of my favorite add-ons for FSX. I love the render program. It was fantastic to record videos in. This one too offers a render program, but it doesn't have the functionality that the FS recorder did, in the fact that FS recorder actually slowed everything down, so it may have looked choppy when you were recording it, but when you played it back, it was smooth as silk. So let's get into the review. First off, you're going to want to start your Prepar3d. And once that gets all loaded and you have the plane that you want to use, all you do is you simply have to start the program. And to do this, it's suggested that you go ahead and you click on the program icon. In my instance, I have it in my taskbar already. We're going to right click on that. Then we're going to right click on this Flight Control Replay P3DX. And after we do that, we're going to run this as administrator. Now this is suggested by Fabio himself, so this is how I've always ran this program. I've never really tried running it the other way, so this is the way I do it. That's suggested by the developer, so I'm thinking he probably knows more about this than I do. And that's going to bring up this interface. Now the interface itself, it's not very pretty. It's aesthetically not very pleasing to the eye. You've got a few options here, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to open up that tab. And in here you're going to see that we have several different ways we can adjust the options in this. Now the sample rate for the record playback I have set at 30. That was suggested by Fabio. He also suggested that I try the automatic setting on here, which you'll see in just a moment, and I tried that and it just didn't work quite as well for me. The 30 seemed to give me the best results. Now, is this a perfect program for recording your flights? No, it's not. It's pretty good, but you'll see the video here some quirks that it has, but I really don't think some of these can be helped. You also have start recording automatically. If you fly above, let's say you set it for 300 feet, then it'll just automatically start recording. Again, you have to have the program running. You can choose the default path where the recorded flight will be, and you do that by simply clicking on the ellipses or the dots, and very similar to any of your other program, you're just going to navigate to where you want to save your flights. If you find a spot that you like, go ahead and click OK. I'm good with where I've got mine. You can automatically export data for Google Earth and maps, and that comes over in a KML file, which you can simply drag and drop in Google Earth, and you can see the altitude and your flight path. That's pretty cool. Now this is kind of getting into the render portion of it. That you can record the audio during the flight. You can record the audio during play mode. You can set the parameters for render video recording. Again, this doesn't do exactly what the other program did in FS Recorder. I tried shooting some film footage for this so I could play it back so you folks could see the rendered version of this. And unfortunately, the codec in my Pinnacle Studio doesn't play it. Neither did my Windows Media Player, and I tried a couple other players. And I got it to work in one, and then I tried it again and it didn't work. I'm thinking it's just something to do with my equipment. If you have the right codec, I'm sure it will play fine. You can set the quality anywhere from 0% to 100. You can set the frames from 15, 30, and 60 is shown. You can also set some dynamic text if you want to. You can use this like if you're flying where it says lowering gear or whatever you can come up with, you know, at altitude. And you can have that so it shows every little once in a while. You can choose a device. Those are all the different devices that are hooked up to my computer. You can do some hotkeys. And if you choose, after you choose a key, you have to click the assign button. It also has voice recognition, which I have not set up or tried, so I can't give you any feedback on that. And if you've adjusted anything on this options page, you're going to want to click the save and close before you hit the red button up there. So you just click on that and that will save all your settings permanently until you change them or update the software, which does get updated every so often. After that, to get it going within your sim, you don't need the items we just saw. You can actually go into your add-ons, and you can see that flight control replay commands are in there. You've got a load flight recorded, resume flight, play, stop play, and start record. Obviously, for this instance, we're going to start recording. And usually, your sim will like freeze for 2 seconds, maybe, if that, and then it is fine. The recording of this, I haven't seen any lag in it whatsoever. Now, you are going to need to go into your P3D in your settings and make sure that you set your frames in there to 30 as well. If you try setting it at unlimited, it's not going to work. It's going to be really choppy during playback. So if you set that to 30, that is definitely going to be a bonus for you. Then all we're going to do is record our flight here. And then after we've recorded our flight, Fabio suggests that you quit Prepar3d and start it up again. So that's exactly what I did. You're going to want to use the default flight. You're not going to want to load your previous flight through your prepared. You want the default flight. Because what's going to happen is flight control replay is basically going to load everything fresh for you so you can start playing back your recorded flight. Alright, we've got our P3D loaded up again with the default flight. And now what we're going to do is we're going to restart the flight control replay P3D X the same way we did when we originally recorded it. We're going to go ahead and we're going to right click on the flight control replay 3DX. We're going to right click on the program again, run it as an administrator, and now we're going to go up to where it says load. And we're going to load our flight that we just created. You can double click on it and it'll pop in. You can click it once and then press open and it'll start, however you want to do it. And after you do that, you're going to notice your screen goes black and basically your sim is reloading again because you're using your flight that you used along with the airport as well as the aircraft. So it does remember your aircraft too. It does take a little bit of time for this to reload, but it is reloading everything basically from scratch. It's a bit quicker than when you first start P3D, which is a good thing. While we're waiting for this to load, I might as well throw this in. Don't forget to subscribe. Check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/FlightSimProductions. Appreciate all you folks out there that are watching this video. Love the subscribers. Love the people that are just popping by. Maybe just want to see what's going on, stick their toes in the water. We do offer a whole series of tutorials and flights and reviews. We're working on more as much as we can. Okay, after our flight has loaded, you're going to see that stuff is still populating in here. In order for this to work, you're going to have to hit the play button, because when it loads, the flight control replay loads, it starts out in pause. So you have to hit play. So if you're looking at your screen and it's like nothing's going on, it's probably because you didn't hit the play button on the flight control replay. And this is actual footage from the program itself. You can see sometimes where it can be a little jumpy. Sometimes it can like almost slide through a couple of dozen frames. Usually it records the flaps correctly. Usually it records the landing gear correctly. And the cockpit, it may or may not record things correctly. The engines, sometimes it records them correctly, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes your tail looks like it's flapping in the wind, and sometimes it records it perfectly. I'm sure it has to do with the airport and with whatever's going on. I've had better luck completely restarting my sim and then using the add-on. It does a decent job. It's not perfect by any means, but it does a decent job. It can be a little frustrating when you're doing cinematography like I do. Sometimes it takes me a few tries to get what I want from it. And quite frankly, sometimes some of the shots I've tried making, it's not successful at doing it. Like there's a pause right there, but I really can't blame that on flight control replay. I'm quite certain that that was my sim itself. And of course this is the prepared version, and there's also an FSX version, which I don't use FSX anymore, so I haven't tried that. That version may be a lot better. I've heard that the replay back in Prepared is just horrendous. And that's why I said earlier, it's like, I think some of this definitely is not the fault of the developer. I think it has to do with Lockheed Martin and the sim itself. And it would be nice for them to perfect the replay. It would be nice if they could perfect the replay where you didn't have to have an add-on. But I'm pretty happy with what I've got here so far. I'd like to be happier, but you know, as I said before, you have to pause it, and when you pause it, you can move this little dot thing, but if you don't have it paused, it won't let you move it. So you pause it, and then you can forward or backward your flight, and then play wherever you want to start playing again. It's also got different camera angles that are built in the add-on itself, and those are supposed to kind of help you get a smoother flight. And those do help sometimes. Sometimes they don't. It's kind of a hit or a miss thing. It's by far not perfect, but it's by far not horrible as well. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get Chase Plane, and we're going to kind of do an outlook view here in the static view from Chase Plane. And using, if the camera is attached to the plane in the cockpit or like on the outside of the plane, you get pretty good results. If you're using the static camera from Chase Plane, like I am now, you're going to see jumps and sputters and all sorts of junk. I don't mean junk by the add-on is junk, just I truly believe that it's prepared. I don't believe it's the add-on. Just gonna kind of forward up chase plane here and get a nice cinematic shot for you. And there you saw like a little glitch where it kind of just was smooth and then it just kind of jumped up really fast and then took off. Hit the pause button, back up the plane some more. We'll run it through this again. There you can see it jumped up. Now we'll watch it from one of Flight Control Replay's cameras. And of course I just did gears up, so it's going to have to lower them. That's not a fault of the program by any means. There's a glitch there. It's kind of a neat tower shot. And there you saw the step up real quick. I'm not sure if that's something that Fabio is working on, or maybe I'm the only one that has that issue. Our sims are so different from each other. It's hard for me to say that's a fault of the program or if that's a fault of my sim. I don't know. Hit the play button so I can rewind it, and look, it doesn't have any landing gear. It's almost like Star Wars. Now this is the render program. I think I'm going to show that here. Make that 30. Bring down the quality just a little bit. And then we're going to go back up here, and to do the render program, you're going to go back to the add-ons. You're just going to go to the selection there, and you're just going to start recording it. And obviously, because I paused it and backed the plane up the gears and down, we're going to name the video that we're going to record, and we're just going to call it review. You can see the green camera there, so you know that you're recording. And then this is kind of how choppy it is, by using the render program. Kind of looks pretty choppy. Of course, I couldn't show you the playback on it because I couldn't view the playback. And it kind of does settle down a little bit, so I'm wondering maybe if it just is a little quirky to begin with, and once you actually are recording for, you know, a brief period of time, maybe it just fixes itself or something. I'm not sure. Now this is a fixed wing view, and this is a chase plane fixed wing view, and this recorded pretty nice. So again, the camera is attached to the plane. It's just when the camera is not attached to the plane that there seems to be some issues. And we're going to go ahead and watch this takeoff. A couple of glitches here and there. And we're airborne. That's a good thing. And we've got another camera angle coming up that's just right in front of the left engine. And once you're airborne, it's pretty good. And you can advance this as far as you want. And when you stop, I kind of like to let everything load, and you can see the scenery in the background, the auto gen kind of popping up and taking off. In this instance, it actually did record the engine, which was kind of nice. That's going to wrap up the review for the Flight Control Replay Professional Edition FSX P3D by Fabio Merlo. Final thoughts on this program are, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give it a 7. I do think it can use some work, and definitely it can use some work with the interface itself. It's aesthetically not very pleasing to the eye. But like I said earlier, you don't really see that when you're recording your videos. As far as the glitches and stuff that are in it, I can't honestly say that it's the add-on, and I can't honestly say it's Prepar3d. It could be both. It could be one or the other. Again, 7 out of 10. You can find this little jewel over at simmarket.com. Price going for €15 and $17.45, give or take a penny or two. And that's going to wrap it up. Thank you for watching. If you have this program, please comment below, and if you have any links to any videos that you made with this program, please throw those in too. I'd love to see them. I'd like to see maybe if it's just me or if everyone shares the same issues. That would be fantastic. Until next time, this is Flight Sim Productions. Keep your head in the clouds.